Hi everybody, I'm Fredeline Elie. I'm at the USB Ed We Read For You event. The book that we reviewed was Scaling Up by Harnish. One sentence to sum up the book was the key to scaling up your business is to attract and to retain the best people. It is to drive a differentiated strategy, is to execute that strategy flawlessly, and it is never to run out of cash. So what's the big idea of scaling up? It focuses on the 4 major decisions that every company must get right. People, your strategy, execution of that strategy, and cash. Those are the 4 basic things that he's talking about. And if you read all of or most of the strategy books, very little time is spent on execution of your strategy. And it's one page or one small, chapter at the end of your strategy book. So they give you all the models and all the groundbreaking strategy that you should follow, but there's nothing about execution. And so what I really liked about what Vern has done with this book is that it's really a technical how-to manual. Most of us start our companies and then we are mice. And then, if we're lucky, we go and then we become gazelles, okay, because we are scaling up. And eventually we reach maturity stage. What he found that millions of people start new ventures, okay, and those that survive, 96% remain mice. As the founder, eventually, of a business, you have to become the dumbest in the room. And what does that mean? You have to surround yourself with people. Yeah, the right people. If you think you have all of the answers, then you are actually silencing the people in the organization. To scale up a business from a handful of employees to something significant, the tools, the growth tools that Vern and his team is giving you, you focus on 3 deliverables. Okay, you will, and this is a promise that they make, reduce by 80% the time it takes for you to manage the business. And then what do you do with that time? You refocus the senior team on market-facing activities, and you are not rolling up your sleeves and running your business inside. Okay? And then you realign everyone else to drive execution and results. Okay? So that is what they promise if you follow the tools. So handling your company's growth successfully requires 3 things. An increasing number of capable leaders. Because as you scale, you can't do it by yourself. A scalable infrastructure to handle all of the product lines and locations, and the ability to navigate certain market dynamics. If these are missing, you are not going to make it. Okay? And then you must expect complexity, and the complexity generates 3 fundamental barriers to scaling up. Leadership is one, and that is an inability to grow enough leaders in your company. A scalable infrastructure, so the lack of systems and structures, and the market dynamics. And what does market dynamics mean? It literally means for you to understand what is going on in your market. If you don't do that, you are going to fail. They give you 4 master fundamentals. In leading people, you have to enlist your core values. And the core is literally, it's like an athlete has a strong core. A company must have a strong core. And so the core they talk about is literally your values and your purpose and your competencies. This is what your core is all about in a company. Okay? And in setting your strategy, you must pass 2 tests. The one is what you're planning to do must really matter to enough customers, and it differentiates you from the competition. So why is it that people must come to you? And are you able to sustain that at the end of the day? And in driving execution, you must implement 3 habits. A set of handful priorities, the fewer the better. Okay? Qualitative and quantitative data, review it, because data is the new gold, as you know, or platinum. And a meeting rhythm, and in managing cash, don't run out of it. The chapter on scaling up people, you're looking at all 4 of those categories is anchored in a specific question. So key question for scaling up people, are all your stakeholders happy and engaged in the business? And very importantly, would you rehire all of them again? The next thing, once you've sorted yourself out, what must you do? The phase is the define senior leadership accountabilities, KPIs, and outcomes. Very importantly, you delegate these functions because this is your leadership team. You delegate these to self-starters, people who do not need to be micromanaged, yeah? And the people who wow the team with insights and outputs. Okay? Those are your functions. Once you've done that, the pace is the processes within the organization. So if you make a particular product and you sell it, what are the processes that's involved there and who's accountable for that? So the name of the process, the accountable people, and again, your KPIs in terms of how you're going to measure that, and you should have checklists in terms of that. Attract and hire the A players. And then you hire for will, okay? The desire to excel. Culture fit is important, as you know. Results, that they can deliver on those expected outcomes and KPIs. And then skills, probably least important because we are in the fourth industrial revolution and things are changing very, very fast, and so people have to upscale very often. Okay, so now you have your team right and your managers. Then to manage this particular team, they must keep and grow and educate the team. So 5 activities of great managers, and this is in reverse order, so, and it's like this in a book. Hire fewer people, but pay them more. Give recognition and show appreciation. Set clear expectations. Don't demotivate, de-hassle. Okay, don't, you know what that means. Help people play to their strengths. That's a chess master that you require. And then they have to grow your talent. So in conclusion, in terms of people, so with the right combination of face and pace, your A players, your great managers, you have the ingredients for a great company. Scaling up your strategy. Can you state your firm's strategy simply? And is it driving sustainable growth in revenue and gross margins? Okay. Why is that important? Because articulating a clear and a differentiated strategy supported by a strong core culture, and you keep on hearing this, that can deliver on the brand's promise is the key for any company wanting to scale up. I think it was Peter Drucker who said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. What Vern is doing very well in the book, what I like, is they're sticking to what they know. And these are the growth tools that they're talking about. In this chapter about scaling up strategy, he looks at the core, and I've already said, what is your core, value, purpose, and your competencies. He gives you the 7 strata of strategy, a framework for constructing an industry-dominating plan. What they said here, and you can see they combined Michael Porter, Jim Collins, Frey, and Bloom into a single framework because they looked at all of these models and realized that it's too complicated. And they were looking for something for middle-of-the-road firms, and that's why they came up. They combined all of these guys. They're giving them recognition for their work, and then it informed their 7 strata of strategy. So often when we are in companies and we facilitate, we ask employees, what's your vision? Nobody knows. Okay? What's your strengths? Nobody knows. So these are 1 pages, and you put it up in cubicles, etc., and it's there for people to embody at the end of the day. Your core values are your rules and your boundaries, and your employees have to know it. They have to live it, and they have to embody it. So we spoke about the tools in this particular book, this particular chapter. So there's your 7 strata of strategy. This is the strategic thinking, because it differentiates between strategic thinking and strategic planning. The S4 is your 1-phrase strategy. Okay, that is your key and how you make your money. The 3 to 5, how you deliver on those promises. And then Porter says you outperform your rivals only if you establish a difference that you can preserve. And this is your X factor, okay, that nobody else has. And this is obviously how you make your money. Then you have your vision summary. Again, this is what your vision is. It's just a very neat 1-pager summary of your core values, your purpose, your bag over there, and then your 3 years, your 1 year, and can you see your quarter? And from there, they give you this 1-page strategic plan, OPSP tools. It's used by bigger companies, obviously, by bigger growth firms. And the purpose is to edit down the vision to a single action-oriented page, and it assists to drive and track business performance. So you can see neatly in one look, You can see what your company is all about. So the key question for execution: are all processes running without drama and driving industry-leading profitability? The section is structured around the Rockefeller Habits, and the Rockefeller Habits are 10 habits, and it's divided into 3 disciplines and routines fundamental to execution. Okay. They talk about priorities. As we said earlier, less is more. The data that you have to mine consistently, and your meeting rhythms. So scaling up execution, the priority as part of the Rockefeller Habits, the finish lines and fun. Individuals and organizations with too many priorities have no priorities. So the key to prioritizing is sequencing a series of number 1 priorities that keep everyone focused and heading in the same general direction. And by sequencing these, they align and build on each other. And then there is your Rockefeller Habits. You can see it is then broken. It's a checklist, yeah, that you can work through in the company, and it's pretty impressive. It really is a summary for me of the whole book. In this chapter, they specifically focus then also on Rockefeller Habit number 2, the number 1 priority, and then Rockefeller Habit number 3 is your meeting rhythm. How do you scale up your cash? I outsourced this to my accountant. This chapter was written for me, and I'm like, oh, if you're going to ask me questions about this, I've got my accountant on speed dial, because not everybody is interested in accounting, yeah? But it is important for you as a founder to see how can you scale up your cash. So what are they looking at? They're looking at the cash, focus on improving your, this is a term I have learned, the CCC. I never knew what the CCC is, your cash conversion cycle. Okay, so the time that the dollar or rand leaves your pocket, and the time it comes back into your pocket. And then chapter 2 is the accounting, so how can it better support the firm in generating truer measures of revenue and profit. And then in chapter 3, the power of 1, it walks you through 7 levers that every business leader can control to scale up cash. Key question: do you have consistent sources of cash to fuel the growth of your business? The first law of, and I didn't know this, the first law of entrepreneurial gravity: growth sucks cash. So you can get by, and this is important, you can get by with decent people, execution and strategy, but not a day without cash. Cash is the oxygen that fuels growth. This was interesting. Successful companies hold 3 to 10 times more cash assets than average for the industries, and they did so from the day that they started. And Vern's rule of thumb here is that at least for his company, he must have a year's operating working capital in the bank for him to be able to run his business. You break down the CCC into 4 components: your sales cycle, your delivery cycle, make and your production inventory cycle, and your billing and your payment cycle. And then you brainstorm ways to increase the cash flow in the business by shortening your sales cycle, by eliminating mistakes, because then that's costly and you have to go back, and by, if it doesn't work, you change your business model. And that is what the cash 1-pager looks like. Okay, ways to improve it: make, delivery, and the billing, and there shorten your cycle. How can you eliminate mistakes, and how can you improve your business model and your profit and loss? As we end, what is the next steps in terms of this? 5 things to do now: have your entire leadership team and employees read and listen to the book, okay, because there's an audio book version available, I think. Form a weekly council discussing strategies in the 7-strata framework that we went through. Launch a quarterly theme and focus the entire company on achieving it in the next few weeks. Then host a celebration at the end so that your employees can taste success. Start the daily huddle if you are not doing it as yet. Okay, only 15 minutes. And plan your first annual quarterly offsite. Start completing those the growth tools that this is talking about. Okay, and choose a couple of the Rockefeller Habits checklist to implement. So this is a book that not only addresses the core elements of running a successful business, but also has a specific how-to information is to put these critical ideas into action. Okay. Thank you.